Mauser Rifle, made famous by German armies in World War I and World War II. They're one of the strongest actions ever made. They're solidly built, they're very accurate, and they're the basis for a lot of custom rifles. Now, the K98 was the German Mauser used during World War II. In 1948, the Yugoslavians decided, after World War II, that they were going to build Mausers for their army. Using German-made tooling, the Yugoslavs made some of the best Mausers in the world. In fact, many of these were made and then put away in stores, made from 1950 all the way till 1965. And most of the ones coming into the country right now, also into Canada and Australia, have been almost in mint condition. They were made, they were put away. But one of the things that the Yugoslavs did that was really key to keeping these pristine was every 5 years, they would go through each of the rifles, clean them, inspect them, repack them, and put them back in storage. There were a few that saw combat during the Yugoslav wars, but pretty much these are pristine rifles and they are excellent shooters. Over 1,224,000 of these were made by the Yugoslav military. So there are a lot of them out there, but they're starting to dry up and the price is starting to go up. Most of these run between $275 and $350. The barrel length is 23¼ inches and the overall length of the rifle is 43½ inches. So while it's not really a short rifle, it's not near as long as many of the Nagants or some of the other rifles out there. It weighs 8.6 pounds as well. And one of the first things that I noticed about the M48 is the wood, how beautiful and rich the wood is. This of course has a military finish to it. This wood is teak, so it's a really good wood, able to withstand the elements. You know, a lot of boat decks are made from teak. There is a slight pistol grip here for the shooter to be able to grab hold. Also, one of the things that is going to be different than the K98 that differentiates the M48. The German K98 actually has a metal cover here. The wood comes all the way back to this receiver right here and behind the front sight. On the K98, it's just a metal piece right here. And that is one of the ways you can differentiate the M48 from the K98 Mauser. The action is extremely smooth, has the bent bolt. It's just a really slick action. Now the M48 actually has an intermediate action rather than the long action of the K98. But this is really designed off the FN Belgium 1924 Mausers. One of the things I really like about this bolt system is that it's flat on the bottom side. So when you're grabbing this, it is a flat surface and it's really easy to bring back. So the M48 has all well-machined, very high-quality parts. They did make the M48A, which will be designated right here on the receiver, that has some stamped parts. Mainly your floor plate to your magazine. But this is the regular M48, all parts are machined. Here we can see M48, it has the Yugoslavian crest right here. On the side there are serial numbers and markings stamped right here into the receiver. You're going to have a serial number right here on the bolt handle, a serial number here on the floor plate, and even here on the stock. Most of the M48s that you're going to find are going to be matched and they're going to be really taken care of. That was one of the things that led me to the M48 over other Mausers that have been used in the field. This is just an incredible way to preserve time. If this was made in 1950, that means this thing is over 62 years old, and it's almost as though it were pulled out of a time vault, which in actuality it was. Here are the metal fittings, very nice. I love this end cap, which is similar to the K98 Mauser. Here's the 8mm round itself. It's really 7.92 by 5.7. And to give you an idea about the velocity of the 8mm, it goes about 2,500 feet per second. So it is a really fast-moving bullet. Here's some of the surplus cartridges here, 1939. Most of this stuff fires very well. Most of it's been kept up in military stores, been kept dry and properly stored. Now the stripper clip itself has a little retaining clip inside, and you just place the rim right over. Just holds 5 rounds. And if you have these prepared ahead of time, it really does make it quick to be able to reload your rifle. But to be honest with you, most of the guys were loading them one at a time. Now the internal magazine itself holds 5 rounds, and just as you've seen here on this stripper clip, in these 2 notches is where the stripper clip actually fits down into. And then as you push them down, they just sink down in, and then when you go to close the bolt, the stripper clip will fly off. This is very similar to the 30-06, and of course the Germans were using 8mm in World War I and World War II, corresponding with the U.S. forces using 30-06 during World War I and World War II. Now there's a lot of surplus ammo still floating around, but there's also a lot of commercial made 8mm as well. Now the 8mm Mauser is very accurate. In fact, these rifles with iron sights were able to go 500 meters, and with a telescopic sight you could get out to 800 meters very effectively. Now the sight itself, you can see it's one of the old style elevation sights. Has a little V-notch, is incremental out to about 2,000 meters, and you just press and then pull this up, and then it brings the sight up. And then what this does is when it raises up, it requires the shooter to lift the end of the barrel up to match this with the front sight. And as you can see, the front sight itself is just a post, and there is windage adjustment. It can be drifted. Of course, you're going to need to take this little hood off, but the hood protects the front sight to keep it from getting damaged, and it also gives it some shadow. So when you're shooting, you're able to pick up that front sight a little easier. You have your forward sling attachment here, and then it actually goes through the stock and then comes out the other side. One of the things I'd really like to do is get one of the original slings to put in here, because it takes a little bit of a different style. Again, these are available on eBay. I've seen quite a few of the originals. You can see the trigger guard. It's a milled, machined piece. Has the set screws to keep this from working itself out. The magazine follower itself is really smooth, very nice. Another machined piece. The one thing about the action of the Mauser as well is that if there were to be a case rupture, there are places for the gas to escape. And that's one of the reasons why this makes it such a great rifle. It is super strong. It can handle most things, but just in case, there is some leeway given in that eventuality. So these rifles just are really well thought out, well made, and have stood the test of time. Now here's your safety, and when it's folded down to the left side, you're on fire. If you want to put it on safe here, okay, straight up allows you to have safety, but it doesn't lock the bolt. To lock the bolt, go ahead and bring the safety on down around from locking the bolt. You've got to mean to put this safety on and off. And it's very visible to whether this safety is on or off. Okay, to release the bolt out of the action, you can just pull this lever, lift your bolt, and it pulls right out. This makes it really easy to clean and take care of. The bolt is just an incredible quality bolt in itself. This is your recoil lug. There is a bar that goes all the way around and through the other side, and this stabilizes the action in the stock. It is a two-piece stock. There is a top part here that goes all the way back, of course, and to get this off around your sights, you've got to be careful. You've got to actually work it around your sights and lift this up to get it out. But it's not really that difficult. Now the buttstock is made a little bit differently than a lot of military rifles, with a solid piece that caps over the stock. This keeps it from cracking. It keeps a lot of the damage that happens to stocks down. One of the things I really like about this is that it's good and wide. It's very comfortable on the shoulder, and to be honest with you, I shot about 30 rounds yesterday, and it was very comfortable to shoot with this wide stock piece. Some people want to put a pad on the back, but to be honest with you, it's not really that bad. The rifle is heavy enough to take care of it. Plus, this was also used as a weapon during combat. Now, a lot of these came with a lot of accessories, like this bayonet. There's also frogs available, cleaning rods. This rifle in particular didn't have a cleaning rod when I bought it. A lot of the accessories weren't with this particular rifle, but they're very easy to find. You can get on eBay and find a lot of different accessories. Now, the bayonet attachment is on the back of the handle. There's a button right here that has a notch that locks this into place, and it slides right down into this groove. Push the button on the side, it'll slide right in. Of course, it fits right over the muzzle, and then you have your bayonet coming forward. To remove, just push your button and pull it off. Now, with the bayonet attached, this does make a pretty formidable weapon, and it does get a lot out front. With the rifle being heavy like it is, 8.6 pounds, it really gives you a substantial platform. The M48 Yugoslavian Mauser. It is an excellent rifle. There's a lot of surplus ammo out on the market. I highly recommend picking you up one of these, just a piece of history. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The M48 Yugoslavia. And then as you pull the bolt, it'll come right out. I don't think you really want to mess with this.